Walt Disney by Isabella Partapillo. A little info on Walt Disney's early life. A little info on Walt Disney, the man who started Disney. His real name is Walt Ellis Disney. He was born on December 5, 1901, in Chicago, Illinois. Disney is the fourth son of Ellis Disney, who was a carpenter, farmer, and building contractor. Disney's mother was a public school teacher. He has three other siblings whose names Herbert, Ray, Roy, and Ruth. Roy later helped his brother make Disney Company a success. His parents soon got bored of Chicago and decided to move closer to family on a farm outside of Maryland, Missouri in 1906. The little town had a huge impact on Walt's life. It was here where Walt began to draw animals and indulge in his imagination. After 4 years, the farm was not profitable, and Walt's father became ill. In 1911, the family moved to Kansas City, where Roy and Walt helped their father deliver newspapers. Walt was only 9 at the time. He had to get up at 3:30 in the morning, 7 days a week. He had to do this before he went to school. Walt's responsibilities did not stop him from having fun and drawing. In 1917, the Disneys moved back to Chicago, and Walt entered McKinley High School, where he made drawings for the school paper and studied cartooning on the side. His progress was interrupted by World War I, which he participated as an ambulance driver for the American Red Cross in France and Germany. When his tour was over, he returned to Chicago briefly, but rather than going back to school and getting his high school diploma, he returned to Kansas City in 1919. A little more info on Walt Disney's life. Disney did not achieve financial success in Kansas City, but he learned animation. He even created his first animation series and trained a number of young artists in this new field. His first job was for Pressman Rubin Commercial Art Studio designing. There he met a longtime friend and associate, Ube Urwex. Disney and Urwex were soon laid off. They decided to start their own company, Urwex Disney Commercial Artists, which only lasted about a month. From there, the two got jobs with the Kansas City Company, later renamed the Kansas City Film Ad Company. There he was making 1-minute advertisements to appear before movies and live-action films. Disney learned about animation at this job and eventually felt confident enough to start his own business. He left the film ad company in May of 1922 to start Laugh-O-Grams Films. Disney put an ad in the newspaper requesting artists who wanted to learn animation and work for him. Disney's first popular film, Alice's Wonderland, it was created and it featured a girl who entered a cartoon world. Disney operated his new company for a year and a half. He had good ideas, but he was not a good businessman. The staff eventually left him because they were not getting paid. Disney declared bankruptcy and left Kansas City in July of 1923 to try his luck in Hollywood. He did very well in Hollywood, and that's where his career started off. A little info on Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse is 90 years old as of November 18, 2018. Sure, he's a little rounder, a lot squatter, and he's been wearing the same clothes for decades. His cheerful face remains one of the most recognizable images in the world. Mickey's story, however, started with a rabbit. In 1927, Walt Disney created a character called Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. With his round white face, big button nose, and floppy black ears, the smiling Oswald was an instant hit. Instead, the studio told him that he had hired away all his employees and retained the rights to Oswald. Universal offered to keep Disney if he took a lower salary, but he refused. He and Ube Urwex, the one loyal animator who stayed with Disney Bros, returned to work and held a series of hair-pulling late-night brainstorming sessions for Oswald's replacement. They decided to shorten the ears, added some extra padding around the middle, and turned the rabbit into a mouse named Morminor. The name didn't last though. The first two Disney shorts drew new attention, not to Steamboat Willie, which is the first animation to feature synchronized music and sound effects. In 1937, Disney Studios was producing around 12 Mickey shorts a year, with Disney himself providing the high-pitched voice. A little more info on Mickey Mouse. By the 1950s, Mickey had a theme park, a newspaper comic strip, and the Mickey Mouse Club, which was a hit TV show. Did you know that Mickey's first words was hot dog? Yeah, he was silent for 8 films, not to the 9th film, called The Carnival Kid. Sure, he laughed and squealed, but he didn't know he could speak words to this film. Mickey is married to Minnie. There was never a wedding in any film, like any loving couple would want. Mickey and Minnie shared their big screen debut together in Steamboat Willie, which came out in 1928. Every year now, on November 18th, they get to celebrate their birthdays together. Mickey is the first cartoon character to ever get a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. A little info on Snow White. Snow White came out on January 13th, 1938. It was based on the famous fairy tale by the Brothers Grimm. The movie was the first animated feature to be produced in English. Many people, including his wife, warned him that the audience, especially adults, wouldn't sit through a feature-length cartoon fantasy about dwarfs. But Disney put his future on the line, borrowing most of the $1.5 million that he used to make the film. Snow White premiered in Hollywood on December 21st, 1937, and earned a standing ovation from the star-studded crowd. When it was released to the public the following February, the film quickly grossed $8 million. Did you know that Snow White is, to this day, one of the top 10 films of all time and beloved by generations? Apparently, the American animator left out a few gruesome details. Disney's well-known Snow White is a less gruesome version of the original. The original is a lot more, well, grim. A little more info on Snow White. Despite its title, the story was originally not for children, like the original Cinderella story. In Little Snow White, which was the name of the original story's name, the evil queen asked the hunter to take Snow White into the forest and kill her, as it does in the movie. In the story version, the queen orders the huntsman to bring back Snow White's internal organs, saying, "Kill her, and as proof that she is dead, bring her lungs and liver back to me." He kills a boar instead, and takes the liver and lungs of the boar instead, which the queen thinks is Snow White, so she eats them. The queen tricks Snow White 3 separate times. One with a corset so tight Snow White passes out. The dwarfs save her by cutting the laces. The second time with a poisonous comb which the young girl puts in her hair and passes out. The dwarfs save her by taking it out. The third time is the poisonous apple, which is seen in the movie as well. The dwarf thinks she is dead, so they put her in a coffin. One of the dwarves trips up, and she gets jostled around. Snow White spits out the apple lodged in her throat. She is then woken up without the influence of the prince's kiss, which is seen in the movie. The more grim version of the queen's death goes like this. They put a pair of iron shoes into burning coals. They were brought forth with tongs and were placed before her. She was forced to step into the red-hot shoes and dance until she fell down. Now you see why Disney wanted to clean up the story? A little info on The Lion King. If you're like me, you can probably recite The Lion King word for word, song for song, and roar for roar. Hold random objects above your head and channel your inner Rafiki, and say Hakuna Matata any chance we get. My completely reasonable accession caused me to fall down a black hole of Lion King fact-finding. The Lion King was originally going to be called King of the Jungle. They changed it because lions don't live in the jungle. The wildebeest scene took 3 years to complete. 3 years for a 6-minute scene. They had to create an entirely new program so the wildebeests wouldn't go through each other while running. If you think 3 years is long, try drawing hundreds to thousands of wildebeests. Zazu's voice actor didn't know the words to It's a Small World. Simba, Sarabi, Rafiki, and Pumbaa are all Swahili words. They mean lion, merange, friend, and foolish. Timon and Pumbaa's voice actors were almost hyenas. The opening scene, which is the Circle of Life, was used as a trailer. The first script featured Scar as a lone lion. Unrelated to Simba, it was in charge of a pack of vicious baboons. In this version, Rafiki was written as a cheetah, and Timon and Pumbaa were already friends with Simba from the start. Hakuna Matata wasn't originally in the script. The Lion King is the highest-grossing hand-drawn animated feature of all time. It is also the 3rd highest-grossing animated feature in general and the 19th highest-grossing film of all time. Jim Cummings replaced Jeremy Irons for the final Be Prepared. Irons messed up his voice while performing the line, "You won't get a sniff without me." The rest of his recordings didn't sound so powerful, so Jim stepped in to save the day. A little more info on The Lion King. Remember when Mufasa asked Zazu what he should do with Scar? Zazu replies he'd make a very handsome throw rug. Turns out someone at Disney thought this was a great idea. In 1997 Hercules, Scar makes a subtle cameo in the form of a throw rug. In the original storyline, Nala was going to be banished from Pride Rock for ignoring Scar's romantic advances. It was during this banishment that she would find Simba alive, as well as Timon and Pumbaa. They ultimately abandoned the plan. Nathan Lane, who played Timon, ad-libbed the line, "What do you want me to do, dress in drag and do the hula?" Unlike the other lions, Scar's claws are always out in the film. The Lion King drew inspiration from William Shakespeare's Hamlet. The reason Scar and Mufasa look so different is due to the fact that Disney originally planned for them to be not related. Scar was just some outsider lion who came in to stir things up. Disney made $1 billion off of Lion King merch in 1994. There is a Nazi reference during the song Be Prepared, where Scar overlooks his hyenas while sitting on a rock. This is reference to Hitler looking down his army. Pumbaa is the first Disney character to fart on screen. It was the highest grossing film ever, now told Frozen to do what it did.